We start out our journey with a ferry ride from Vancouver over to Vancouver Island. We're heading for the town of Victoria, and it's a nice ferry ride, kind of like a mini ocean voyage minus the waves. It's quite calm here. We're in the inland sea. There's a number of islands that we go by, and as you can see, it's very scenic.
She never appears on camera.
Very rural and rustic. So our Hawaii group is having fun already. You're traveling along, as always, with groups from Hawaii and World Traveler as we journey into Western Canada. It only takes about an hour and a half to travel across the sea here from Vancouver over to Victoria. And on board, you can relax indoors in the comfortable lounges if you like. Air conditioned, do some reading. There's snack bars on board. There's restaurants on board as well. Outdoor decks to promenade on. And as you can see, it's a very comfortable ship. You can sit outdoors. That's the best place to enjoy the view. You can soak up a little sunshine and feel the breezes. We're crossing the ocean here. It's the saltwater straits, but it's not the open sea. It's well protected by the island, so it's a very calm crossing. The dining room is really quite nice, and it's not expensive. You can get a meal here for the price at a normal, typical restaurant. And you can have your pick from the buffet. It's all you can eat kind of a situation. So you can easily fill most of your hour and a half if you choose to in the dining room. But you don't want to miss the views, so be sure to get out on the decks. And then shortly, we'll be arriving at Victoria on Vancouver Island. There's a number of other really pleasant ferry rides that you can take out from Vancouver. You could head north if you like up to the Sunshine Coast, or further up Vancouver Island. We're seeing now the shoreline of Vancouver Island. Further north you'd arrive in Nanaimo, which is the second largest city on Vancouver Island, and that would make a good base for exploring the whole island. You could drive out from there and a series of day trips and see everything. We're heading for Victoria, which is certainly the most popular spot for the visitor on Vancouver Island. The town is just about a 20-minute drive away from the ferry. It's situated on the southern tip of Vancouver Island. Before we get to Victoria, however, we've got a nice little surprise stop for you. Butchart Gardens, perhaps the most famous floral gardens in North America. They've got 150 different kinds of flowers here, covering an enchanting 50 acres of perfectly groomed flower beds. It's on a 1904 country estate, and it's won the heart of millions of visitors from around the world. The much photographed sunken garden was reclaimed from the family limestone quarry by Mrs. Butchart in 1917. And other features that we'll show you include the Japanese garden, the rose garden, Italian garden, formal plantings and lawns, and elaborate fountains. They even have a strolling Dixieland band. A pleasant contrast to all of the bright, wild colors of the flowers in the sunshine is the Japanese garden. It's a clean, green, serene oasis. They even have a small Zen pebble garden here to assist your meditation as you stroll through little brooks, little bridges. Very typical of a classic Japanese garden. One of the most beautiful flower gardens in the world. It's a famous place, and here we're going to show you why it's so attractive. The landscaping also includes fountains and statues, such as the Fountain of the Three Sturgeons. It was cast in Florence, Italy, by a famous Italian sculptor, Sirio Tofanari. But mostly we're here to see the flowers. There's arbors, there's tunnels of flowers that you can walk through. There are different sections, including the Japanese garden. This non-traditional Japanese garden was started in 1906 by Mrs. Butchart with the expert assistance of Japanese landscapers. There's also a wharf entrance here for visitors arriving by boat or float plane. These gardens are open every day of the year and also in the evening when they have illuminated displays. And in the summertime at night, there's fireworks and outdoor music concerts as well. Beyond Butchart, it seems like all of Victoria is one big flower garden. It must come from their British heritage. Like in England, every home has its flower boxes and its little flower gardens. It's very close to downtown Victoria, just about 25 minutes away, and now we have arrived at this charming seaside town. It's the capital of British Columbia and one of the most popular tourist sites in the world. This area is the sunniest spot in the province and the gentlest in the country in terms of climate and environment and lifestyle. Victoria is the capital of British Columbia and proud of its English heritage. Victoria, British Columbia, one of the most beautiful spots in the world. Here we're standing at the Inner Harbor. Behind me you see the Parliament building and the marina with the small boats tied up. The Inner Harbor of Victoria is one of the most beautiful spots in the world. It's picture postcard perfect. You can take a little boat ride if you like in the harbor, and you can just stroll around. This is one of the most beautiful towns in the world. In fact, in Condé Nast recently it scored in the top 10 cities in the world to visit. Victoria, British Columbia. It's a small town so that you can quite easily walk through the shopping district, which is right next to the Inner Harbor here. So everything is very convenient. You can walk in 10 minutes from the harbor right through the heart of the shopping district. We're staying at the Empress Hotel, which is the Queen Dowager that sits on the Inner Harbor. It's an institution that's famous throughout the country. It's one of the Canadian Pacific hotels that were originally built by the railway chain. And it sits right in a prime spot, right next to the Parliament building. You see here reflected in the small boat harbor. And that Parliament building lights up at night. It's a spectacular sight. The Empress Hotel in the heart of Victoria is a landmark. It's got a commanding position on the Inner Harbor. It's a fabulous structure. You can see the architecture is of the most grand quality. And whether you're staying at the hotel or not, its rooms are open to the public, so you can come on into the lounge. You can have tea in the afternoon, which is the most famous event that happens here at the Empress. Or you can have the buffet breakfast. It's open to the public as well, and the various dining rooms. It is really one of the best places to eat in town when you're in Victoria. So whether you're a guest or not at the Empress, by all means, come on by and have a look at it. And if you'd like to really pamper yourself, well, spend a night or two here at the hotel. We're going to take you to high tea in just a few minutes in the program. Some brief glimpses inside the dining rooms of the Empress. Fabulous hotel. We're actually going to be staying here in our visit to Canada. We're planning a visit this summer, open to the public with the Hawaii Geographic Society. We'll be covering Western Canada, all the places you're seeing in our program, including Vancouver and Banff, and then on to Montreal and Quebec City and Toronto. Now let's soak up the sights while we listen to a street concert. They say Victoria is the most British town outside of England. Victoria is Western Canada's oldest city. It got started in 1843 as a Hudson Bay Company trading post, and it was named in honor of Queen Victoria. It grew rapidly as the main port of entry, and it became the largest port north of the United States. Even today, they're proud of their maritime heritage. Victoria is a fascinating marketplace of beautiful things from around the world, and the city is perfectly suited to shopping at an easy pace. You'll find an abundance of restaurants, and Bastion Square is one of the most enjoyable places to spend your money. It's an outdoor festival marketplace. It's the original site of the old Fort Victoria, and it's been renovated. The former saloons and brothels and warehouses have been spruced up to become offices, cafes, and galleries. And just a few blocks away is Market Square, which is the old heart of Victoria, but it's now a collection of 65 specialty shops and cafes. And the other great highlight of the city is the museum. You've got to go inside, so we're going to take you there into the Royal British Columbia Museum. They feature state-of-the-art presentations that are just as impressive as anything that you'll find, let's say, in Washington, D.C. at the Smithsonian or any of the other great museums in the world. They have a wide-ranging collection here that includes the culture history, it includes prehistory, the Indians, the Native Americans, and natural history. There's a lot of dioramas, there's the skeletons of some of the larger creatures, and it's right on the Inner Harbor, right next to the Empress Hotel, just across the street. And then when you're done with the museum and you need a little break, come on over to the Empress for high tea. It's the most famous tea service in North America, and you can see why. It was delicious. It's a meal in itself. You don't have to have lunch or probably not even dinner when you've had high tea. There's the little sandwiches, there's the scones, there's the berries, you've got the clotted cream and the strawberry preserves and the chocolate pastries. What a combination, what a rush. It is fairly expensive, but they serve 1.6 million cups of tea here every year, and therefore there must be something to it. So you might splurge a little bit and give it a try. Or you could go over to the Bengal Lounge on the other side of the hotel and have a curry buffet lunch. The harbor is alive with activity both day and night. The buskers are out, they're encouraged. People like to gather around and listen to the music or watch the jugglers. You can have a nice meal at one of the many restaurants that overlook the harbor. Beautiful at twilight with the Parliament all lit up. Victoria is not a big city. Really, the downtown is only about 5 blocks long and about 4 blocks wide, so you can easily see it in a day or two. And there's a lot of different interesting shops with local Canadian goods for sale. Victoria is such a charming place that it was recently ranked as the second best city to visit in all of North America by Travel and Leisure magazine. Bastion Square is an outdoor marketplace where the artists and craftsmen sell their wares directly to the customer. And there's a lot of restaurants in the town, of course. One of the nice restaurants is right in our hotel. And the breakfast is unbelievable. Fresh blueberries. Can you believe that? Huge bowl. That's one of the reasons we like to stay at the Empress. The breakfast is superb. It's almost like a buffet dinner. There's so many different dishes you can enjoy in this regal garden type setting. We loved it. So how do you like it?
Oh, very good. Yes. All variety, a lot of fruits, and I love my fruits.
All sorts of fresh seasonal fruits. There's eggs, quiche, rolls, desserts, even at breakfast, and lots of coffee. Get us going for a group shot out in front of our Empress Hotel. We're walking over to the museum, which is right next door, just across the street, next to the Inner Boat Harbor. We're out early this morning because we want to get to the museum just when the doors open. We're so eager to get inside and see it before we leave. Here's how you take care of a world-class tourist city. You have fresh flowers hanging from all the lampposts, and then you water the flowers every morning. And it helps to have a world-class museum. The Royal British Columbia Museum is a culture history museum that tells the entire story of the history of British Columbia. The displays are so realistic it seems like you've been transported back in time, very similar to the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C. Dioramas that you walk right into, farm scenes, the history of coal mining, the Native American story, all told in that fabulous museum. Well, it was a great visit to Victoria, a short visit, and now we're on the road because we've got the rest of Canada to see in this tour. You're watching the beginnings of a tour that's going to take us from Victoria to Vancouver and then on to Rocky Mountains, and eventually we'll see Eastern Canada as well in a future episode, flying across to Quebec, Montreal, and Toronto. Leaving Victoria, there's a beautiful scenic drive along the Saanich Peninsula that takes you past some marinas and beautiful homes, mansions along this routing, and golf courses and very interesting sights to see on our way back to the ferry station. It's just about a 1-hour drive, including the upscale residential area of Oak Bay, and then soon enough we're back on board the ferry. Our bus can drive right onto the boat. It's very convenient for us. We just walk upstairs to the deck and we enjoy our ferry ride again in reverse, this time going from Vancouver Island back over to the mainland. And then we'll be driving up into the city of Vancouver. Mount Baker in the Cascade Range of Washington State looms 11,000 feet high, one of the many sights as we make our way through the San Juan Islands. That wraps up our look at Victoria. Now we go on to the great city of Vancouver.